Blessings, family. Sister Ajali. Their Vida Loca. We gotta just separate ourselves from it because we are more removed from them genetically than wolves are from dogs, and they're considered two separate species. In saying that, I wish absolutely nobody any harm. I'm just pointing out the fact that this is not us. So when I come with my warnings about man made radiation, not taking me seriously is living their vida loca, where we just keep seeing these persons like they are a different version of what we consider humanity. I'm not trying to say they're not human, though technically that word is based on HUE, to have you. They have a certain feature of you. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with acknowledging the differences between different nations. There's equally nothing wrong, especially if it's going to get you to hear my warning. There's nothing wrong with noticing there are vast differences between black and white people. When it comes to white people, it's okay for them to separate into different countries. But for black us, oh my goodness, if they got to hunt us, including with that sea moss, right? But I'm here to explain and describe their vida loca. This young white woman, she's deceased now. Her name was Xana DeArt. She was a raw fruitarian. She ate some vegetables, but she mostly ate fruit and raw. What I mean is, when it comes to life itself, there are risks involved that it is the freedom of adults to undertake. However, since we are thinking beings, and especially with that melanin is just pure to force connectivity between our neurons in every portion of our bodies. That's why our muscles will often respond telepathically, pretty much, when it comes to sounds and tastes and smells. We are there long before everybody else is. So the fact that our babies are being born at the lowest birth weight rate of any other group of people, that's how you know they're targeting us for a genocide. Now, my warning is that because in many ways we put these people at the top of our consideration of what is respectable, including them parading their theft, generational theft, around as if it's morality, because you have a bigger, fancier house, you have a bigger, fancier car, you've got all of these different things that we attribute to intelligence, to societal discipline, and that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at a society that is based on predator mimicry, where they take the most vapid, signs of accomplishment and shove that down everybody's throat. And then in the meantime, theirs are just wasting away. And Xana literally did. Here you can see a little bit more of it, where she was famous on Instagram, I guess. I don't know. I ain't watch her. Right? But you got to be able to recognize, because I wanted to title this Stupid Vegans, but it's going to be more extensive than just the veganism, because I'm a vegan. I'm going to stay a vegan my whole life if I can. I might not be able to, but that's because I'm a thinking human being first and foremost. And so seeing anyone who was that emaciated, where she's trying to portray herself in this photo as if she's muscular and she's strong, but at the same time, you could just look and see there's not enough fat there in order for her brain to function, especially as a female. You need a certain measure of fat on you. I'm not talking Lizzo levels of fat. I'm just talking nice just you got stuff that's padding you out. Everybody is different, right? So while she's in this diet thinking she's up there, people will get up here and swear they are on point with everything, including me sometimes. But it's up to you to do the research. The more you research about man-made radiation, the more you're going to say, all right, I don't agree with her about everything, but with that radiation, she ain't kidding, okay? But this woman was not able to think anymore because she was not getting enough fat in her diet. And she did things that if you were capable of thinking, you would recognize. Don't do that. Here's the picture before. This is shortly before she finally died. They said she died from malnutrition and exhaustion. Where same woman, she was doing dry fasting. That's where for, I think, days or whatever, she would go without not only food, and she was only eating a bunch of raw stuff, but also water. She never drank water. She got all her liquids from her fruit, and I've heard people propose that. I don't recommend it, because when you see animals in the wild, they always gather around the watering hole, no matter how daggone dangerous it is for them to drink water, obviously. And you'll have primates out there eating fruit all day long, leaves, seeds, whatever. They still drink water. Even if you don't like water, you tea, something other than just, getting it through your fruit and your vegetation, all right? But if you are doing your research, you'll find out that the cellular function, the mitochondria inside your cells, cannot get a daggone thing done without an aqueous solution inside the cell. That's going to be a plasma-based solution, not just water. But it's still, they have to float around to get stuff done. If there's nothing to float around, then they don't get anything done. And you can die within days of not taking in liquids. And you just look at her face. She was 39 years old here. I know. We all are like, okay, they start falling to pieces. But she has absolutely no fat stores on her. So when I look at this, I think to myself, she wasn't doing this for health, even though as she was presenting it as such, she was suffering from their Vida Loca, where she was considering her just massive scrawniness is some sort of, like a step up in life. Because I recognize and I wonder with white women when the only thing they can do, because they embrace that, just like emaciated look, because they are so competitive with us. I never realized that they were, but I do now. Right? And they realize that they are. That's why they're always putting out their anti-aging cream and all of these different things that they do in order to buttress their, flat. They're just uncertain people in the first place. And I don't want to go into all the reasons why, but I'm just saying we were made by the direct hand of the Most High, because there is no birth date on the black man and the black woman. There's definitively one on them. And so, yeah, that wasn't right there from his divine hand. I'm just saying, that's my conclusion, all right? So that makes them much more vulnerable to chaotic thinking. They're also not taking in, because of their lack of view, they're not taking in the full strength of the cosmos, of the sun, of the energy, of the vibrancy of the universe. That is part of our melanic tour de force function, and so that we could almost be telepathic, right? And in certain ways we already are. So she's starving her mind, even though right here this is like super duper scrawny, she look a whole heck of a lot better. That's where you veer off course. Now, I'm so glad most of us sisters are not beguiled by any of this, but it's the same mindset where you give deference to these folks and will ignore it's a possession of sorts, and it is demonic, even though demonism is a frequency that expresses itself in the deeds of their society. But you can be caught up just like you can fall. You can stumble over something, and it's so much easier to fall at that point than it is to stand up straight. So that is the equivalent, the exact science of demonic possession, where you're just caught up in the fall. And literally, if you trip and stumble bad enough, you aren't going to be able to stop yourself from falling, right? But you reach a certain point because you got the Allah's good earth underneath you where you just pick yourself back up. And so when we're putting these people at the top of our consideration of what is important in life, I'm so glad that we sisters, we don't go this far. I don't see Black women and any woman, even if you're a white woman listening to this, if you think that this is attractive in any way and you are starving yourself literally, please seek help. For Black people, I think we've got a lot, like Dr. Z, all right? And myself, we've got a lot of people, and we're not the only ones, whom you can consult outside of the medical Western civilization instructed industry. But if that's what you need, then that's where you go so that you can stay alive. This particular person's name is Eugenia Cooney. And I'm surprised chick is still alive because she's so emaciated, where she just is, she's a cadaver walking around. She's got this thing that they call chopstick legs. It's very exaggerated in her because she has no fat stores on her whatsoever. I mean, she was on her YouTube or Instagram account dancing, and literally these are her pelvic bones. Her bones. So this is the most recent. She's gotten worse, far worse. And so they call this chopstick legs. And I understand on TikTok they have a lot, and it's white people, Asian people promoting this idea, and it dovetails into anorexia, where you're literally, I don't know how many people die from anorexia. I don't wish it for them. All right? But I'm just saying, where they're trying to get out of this condition, but then they go and they post about how they're having a difficult time doing that. And that's because they literally, especially with anorexia, they're not thinking straight, and they're in love with the just unchecked processing of their thoughts, where, like David, I can't remember the name of the singer, but, in the days gone by, water flowing underground, look at my beautiful home and my beautiful wife and all this other stuff. And it was just a song about how it means nothing to them. Nothing. And instead, they'll just deflect onto us, trying to make us seem like we're the worst people on the planet, and we're not. And I don't watch them anymore because I had to separate myself from even being horrified by these people when they commit murders. Past, present, future they're planning on with that CMOS of you and me. But I would watch all these documentaries about, they never friggin' stop. How their Vida Loca is it to not see ahead of that? I don't even care if you don't get caught. You should want to be caught, to have the nerve to take another person's life. That's just, whoa. So I'm very grateful to Sister Lashish. She's been doing live streams about depression and different factors that cause it. I haven't been able to listen because I'm writing my next novel, which is so good. Oh my God. And just to have that conversation now is necessary because they've captured us so much into, like the materialism with the hip hop. When they started first they were doing their videos like, don't push me, cause where it was out in the hood, it was real. To where everybody's doing their videos and they're in front of these Lamborghinis and these fancy mansions that they were just renting. They weren't really real. Okay? So that we've just developed this materialism, this braggadocio where I'm the biggest and the baddest. Nobody can compare to me. Just shut up. Shut up. Right? It's wonderful to be part of a community of people and to just sit down and let others shine. Right? And so these are little ways where it's that fall, it's that trip into whiteism, and you can't get yourself up out of it. Where you'll say, wait a minute. Some of the best times I've ever had have just been with people because they were good people, not because they had lots of money. Some of the worst times I've ever had have been with people because I was with them because they had lots of money and nothing worth being around whatsoever. Okay? So this chick here, she is. I can't play it, but she's even. This is one of her latest videos on her YouTube channel. What was it, 2 months ago? I don't know what's going on with her. I hope she's living. I don't wish anybody harm like that, okay? This is her mom. And you see, that's her rib case up in there. And she's not even really stretching out to show what the heck is going on. And people put a petition together to get her channels removed. Obviously, her YouTube channel's still there, so probably her Instagram account is too. But you can go to places, I understand, like TikTok, and you can put in certain terms and these things that will encourage you go through it as white women or Asian women. Where you can find these people who are trying to inspire folks to go further and further, like this whole thing with the chopstick legs. Like, to me, I ain't got nobody's chopstick legs and will never have them. No. That's not the way for me. My body goes. I want some thighs. I want some hips, right? And so, yeah, some of the women up here, granted to them, they're upset about having someone say that they had chopstick legs. That's really good. But then other ones truly have a hard time just accepting reality as what it is. They want to live a fantasy. I think the Eugenia chick is, like imitating Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. But even Sally, she was not an emaciated little stick figure, but she was a caricature, a claymation, or whatever Tim Burton used, where he elongated her neck to, just give that little weak, demure thing that white guys just really, really love. They like that boy-looking type of woman for the most part. Not all the time. And the more they keep peddling, swirling the black women, you're going to feel that trip and fall into the gravitational pull where you think you gotta be eating. Some of these people are eating like 200 calories a day, 500 calories. I saw an article once where some black female actress was saying she was eating 1,200 calories a day. That, for a full-grown woman, everybody is going to be different. But still, that is possibly not enough. And I would say for her it wasn't enough because the last pictures I saw of her, she was looking way too thin. Way too thin. And the terrible thing is that veganism winds up being slammed. First off, I don't recommend veganism unless you're going to fully think your way through what you're eating. It is not a choice for someone like this young lady, who she says she's just a vegan, but she's a fat vegan. That, she might have a chance of actually getting better nutrient diversity in her eating. But at the same time, it's if you're just going to overeat as a vegan, more than likely you're just eating junk food vegan entrees, French fries, everything same color, lots of pizza, lots of vegan cheese. Yeah, that's not enough. That's not enough. So you're in danger. But because this society is so predator mimic, they have a medical industry that depends on us thinking that it's just too much of a burden to ponder how to eat healthier. And so eating meat is carcinogenic to the body because it's a very heavily layered form of protein where your body is going to produce an excess of ammonia and uric acid, which can cause all sorts of afflictions, and it has no fiber in it. And so you wind up with a lot of just dead stuff stuck up in your gut. And our anatomy is more like vegetarian or vegan species, herbivores, than it is like carnivores or even omnivores. However, because Allah set this up, He set it up in a way where we really have to use our minds in order to figure these things out, because there's different nutrients we aren't going to get from a vegan diet. And so I include not just a generalized B complex vitamin, because that is often made from just pulverized rocks. I looked up the most bioavailable form of B vitamins and got those which my body will absorb instantly. I know it works because my mother, God rest her soul, when she was living with us, she went vegan too, but I didn't know at that time the different things that we needed. So she started having hallucinations and all sorts of things that when I just went to a Western doctor, he said, oh, she has Alzheimer's. Give her and just gave a prescription for medicine. Was giving the medicine away for free. Oh, here's some boxes for you, so try it now. We never put her on the medication, and I just did more research and found out when you're a vegan and you ain't getting them B complex vitamins, you can lose your mind because you need that in order to just precipitate the neural processes all throughout your body. And so when I started giving her the B vitamins, started taking them myself, her condition was cured. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay? And so they'll put out these stories where they'll find one vegan person who's an idiot and terrible. I'm so sad that the poor child died here, murder by malnutrition. Vegan mother is found guilty over death of 18-month-old son who weighed just 17 pounds when he died after being fed diet of only raw food, fruit and vegetables. You cannot just eat raw food. Certain nutrients will never get into your body if you're eating raw carrots, raw kale, raw broccoli. And then you find out, because Dr. Z and through Arna, they do direct testing and investigation with Black Us, that broccoli is going gaseous in your body. It isn't for us, right? The yeast isn't for us. And so when I employed his regimen, you could go to 25,000yearcycle.org. Right there, you'll find his blog where food you can eat, food you can't eat. Okay? So that when I started eating like that, all kinds of issues that I had already fixed so many issues just going vegan. But when I gave up the broccoli, gave up the breads, gave up, every now and then I don't really have sugar. I never have white sugar. I definitely never have high fructose corn syrup, okay? But I even giving up the bread, not carbohydrates. You need carbohydrates. I have rice and all that sort of stuff. But once I started doing things that he was recommending, it's like I got the body of a 25-year-old woman. I have so much energy and strength and just no issues. And I'm supposed to at my age, especially being a black woman. I don't have any of that. I don't get headaches. I don't get pains, agonies, nothing. And I once was at a point where I had neuropathy. Oh my goodness. I had so many different issues, but the neuropathy, whoa, talk about pain. It's agonizing. Well, I cured it. And if you look on the web, you can't find cures for neuropathy. Pretty much so. You have to really be investigating. If you are thinking in the way that we were blessed to be able to do, then you're not going to fall for this mess. You're going to see articles like this and you're going to say, all right, pharmaceutical industry, what point are you trying to get? And this one, woman 38 whose undiagnosed Lyme disease left her minutes from death, reveals how plant-based diet nearly destroyed her body. What? They just put it out there generally without going over what was she eating, how was she eating it. And they were saying that, her body was incapable of absorbing the nutrients. Well, then she should have been able to discern that. There's certain things that you're doing that you're like, no, it just works. If it's not working with you, then yes, please go to a doctor. Them Western doctors, they got those tests like nobody's business because they learned their trade on the battlefield. They were always engaged in wars. But for some reason, when they talk about black on black crime, they don't talk about white on white war, right? So that's where they learn their skills on how to suture people up. But when it comes to diseases of what you're eating, stemming from what you're eating, they suck at that. They suck at that. So she went to the carnivore regimen. Look, if starvation times happen, don't you know, I'm going to be out there hunting, getting me some meat because I'm not dumb. I'm not trying to die. I'm not like, they got this freaking, on-off switch. I'm either on this 100% or I'm off that 100%. I don't care who says to me, oh, but you're supposed to be for us vegans. Are you a traitor now? No, I'm living now and want to continue. And I'm having a hard time getting the various things that give my body nutrition, like nuts and legumes, the beans, you got to cook those. You can't eat raw beans unless you're growing them yourself. And then some, I've heard, do further investigation. When they come off the vine, you can eat them right then and there. I don't know. I haven't tried that. I'm just telling you. You need a full range of food, and some things need to be cooked. And vegetables, steam them. That's the best method for retaining all the nutrition within. And don't steam it for 7 hours. You don't have to get the water boiling before you put the vegetables in there. And you don't have to steam them for like a minute or 2 minutes until they're slightly pliable, okay? But not blanch where there's no more color left in them. I'm just saying overall, you gotta think through your actions because these people have got terrible, terrible plans that we can see now because they're once again rolling out these friggin' jabberoonies to the children. What? Were they not reading any of the papers? Right? And so this is Rebecca and her sister, Vance. I don't remember what her sister's name is, but was. These two women wanted to be survivalists. They weren't even conspiracy theorists, which is just a made-up term from the CIA because people were realizing that Kennedy was assassinated by the U.S. government. And both Kennedys. They whatever was out there, they didn't think it through. They just went with it. So they went off into the Rocky Mountains in Colorado to live a survivalist life, live off the grid, because when they saw all the, pandemonium over the made up algorithm thingy, they thought the world was going to be coming to an end. their Vida Loca's coming to an end. Yes, that's it. But for them, the idea of them not being in charge, everything's over. It's dire. It's depressing. Oh my goodness, they're so friggin' just mournful. Whoa. I'm like, don't you love the truth? Doesn't it make you excited? It makes me excited to know the truth is coming out. Okay? But they're dead because all they used for instruction were YouTube survivalist videos. How the hell can you watch survivalist videos and miss the ones where even these guys who are amazing bushcraftsmen, all the rest of this, go off into the woods and can't find anything to hunt and kill? Start getting real hungry. I mean, like there was one alone up in Alaska where I watched the whole friggin' series. And these people, they had to be taken out because they were starving to death at the end. Speaking of starving to death. Okay? And that's what happened to them. The hypothermia and malnutrition, starvation took them out. I could just look at this picture right here and say they were not candidates for the backbreaking work of survival out in the open. I would be at my wit's end trying to do something myself too. Okay? But at the same time, you know what? That was their choice. The pharmaceutical industry and whiteism just in general is trying to take away from everybody because their society based on lies is falling to pieces. And they don't know what to do about it because the last thing they can afford to do is tell the truth. Because immediately everybody would say, oh, I don't have to spend half my friggin' income on this crap. Right? And they don't want us to be free adults to make our own health choices. I support grown-ups being grown-ups. When I see, because I've been watching lots of nature videos, the animals just got to do what they got to do. Life is, we got this idea everything's supposed to be wonderful, and if it isn't perfect and there isn't divine justice, then, oh, we're depressed. No, the truth will set you free, okay? Not these people. Go to 25000yearcycle.org. There are people out here. We are working tirelessly for you. You already have a nation. You just got to leave them fools alone. Go on over here, get your heel on, and the remedies that Dr. Z puts together, these things, they just work. Because he does that research. As I said, we're thinking people. We're not just going to be out here saying, oh, we need a big, fancy McMansion. No, we don't. Right? We need you. We're not dumb. We know without you, there is no us. All right? I love you. Straight Black family pride is our map to getting everything back to the truth where it will thrive. Peace and blessings.